Debbie, you're brilliant. You just thanked me. I'm thanking you. So it's a mutual admiration society going up here. A couple of announcements before I call on Paul Hackett to close the conference. I think we've had a great day. The buses for this evening's dinner are at 19:45. That's 7:45 in the landing, in the lobby. So we'll be going to a beautiful period. I think it was used for making olive oil. It's a beautiful venue. And it's been checked out by the luminaries of the profession, Des and Pat, in advance. Afterward, we come back, though, nobody's going to bed. There's music in the bar, and the bar will stay open till 1:30. And this has been organised by our Director of Golf and member of the Events Committee, Des Abbott. So Des takes all the credit if anybody is out of tune tonight. The complaints can go to Des if somebody's off key. We've had a great conference. One of the things that excited me most about the conference was the word pivot, which you have to hear at every conference. It wasn't used until shortly before lunchtime, I think 3 minutes before lunchtime. Pivot is the word that everybody seems to use in every single speech. We had a great morning. Our Spanish dignitaries made us very, very welcome. And Teresa made this amazing statement that the most important thing we can wear today is our smile. I think we've been doing that all day. We then had Debbie. She gave us her 4 E-tabs. Envision, enable, empower, energize. And she taught us to open our arms and embrace the challenge. And the days will never be boring. That was Debbie's message. If it's not measurable, it's not manageable. That's another of her great insights. And if you let your culture be taken over by your employees, you lose the helm. Show leadership at all times. We then had Jenny coming up to talk about Aer Lingus, that great Cleveland, and the resumption of Hartford, Connecticut. It's not a new route, but it might as well be, and all their transatlantic plans, and how the sustainable plan is going through. I do love the notion that last night's fish and chips oil is going to be powering us off to across the Atlantic in years to come. Kevin Cullinan said something amazing as well. He said, the events of the summer brought the focus back on people. I think that applies not just to what the DA went through this summer, but also to what all of us as an industry went through. And he did use the phrase, we're looking at it now in the rear view mirror and look forward to how Dublin Airport will work with us in the future. Claire Dunn talked about the support scheme, 103 agents. Morris talked about the consultation that's going on to put events like this together, and that tremendous engagement with the membership. Linda Jones talked about the ITAA logo as a consumer brand, which is something that's been, we've had a logo, we've talked about it for a long time, but here, why not throw it out there as one of the strong Irish brands, because it means that level of service that this panel has just been talking about is available wherever the ITAA logo is to be seen. Maureen told us about Ryanair and return to the GDS. She also made me think of the word elevator pitch in a different way forever. And that very, very obvious advice, which really struck me, is when you're going to ring the airline, use the correct line. I mean, it's very, so there are specific travel agent lines which were not being used, which was really news to me. Tom talked about the regulatory process, quite complicated, but, obviously all that those consumer protections we've talked about for years came apart during COVID, and they're all being reconstructed, and it's certainly a hugely interesting area. And the Danish model that he talked about, I'm certainly going to be having a look at that. And then Claire Doherty talked about ways of increasing the number of agencies with sustainability certification, because the sustainability debate it's going to be the new sort of one with wind behind it over the next 3-4 years. And as an industry, we've got to be fitted up to face all criticism, and that's certainly the most obvious way to go about it. We then had this great panel discussion that Debbie did, Martin Skelly talking about putting a value on our time and managing frustration and then specialise in something. Tremendously wise words. Deirdre talked about that travel bubble, that getting staff back isn't as difficult as sometimes we make it out to be, because travel is a magic word. It's an exciting industry, and people who've gone away to permanent pensionable jobs, some of them actually came back to Sunway, and invest in IT and invest in your staff. They're very important messages from Deirdre Sweeney. And we met Jackie Russell, and she said something amazing. She said, know your client and know your space. That's something that, is so wonderfully simple and straight to the point. It's something to think of and all around. And Dimna said, we've got out of the habit of selling. I think Debbie earlier said we got out of the habit of leadership. So there are things we've got out of the habit of which we need to rediscover. And she said something marvellous as well. Trust your gut. Just trust your gut, stick. And then we had an intervention from Danny from ABTA. It was when someone has a surname Wayne, that they expect them to come with a 6-shooter and, to sort out the bad guys. But he said that, the 37% results to more than 1 in 3 more likely to book with an agent in the adjoining island. Welcome to the European Union, Danny, by the way. But on the adjoining island, that trust in travel agents is coming back, or it's there to be exploited, should we. So I think you'll agree it's been a great, great conference. I'm going to call up now Paul Hackett. He called on us earlier this morning to look for our inner Columbus. So, Paul, you're back in action, and thank you very much for being a great audience. I really enjoyed it. I hope you all enjoyed the conference as much as I did.
Good afternoon,